Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome back for the third time if you're watching these videos literally back to back, because I hopefully have uploaded them at least back to back. We're here for the third installment of the Dragon Ball news over the course of this last month so far, especially what just occurred yesterday. So we're here to talk about Kong Studios. I'm going to go a little bit over the recent releases in the last few weeks, as well as the information we just got about the Wukongs from Mythos anime, otherwise known as Kong Studios, same thing. Now, real quick, of course, if you haven't already heard, I'd like to promote that we have this collaboration going on with the Dragon Ball Figuarts and third-party server. If you guys like third-party stuff, which I'm sure you do if you're here, a good spot to be in, especially if you were in the Facebook group for Kong Studios. A lot of people, I think, migrated from there because for some reason Meta decided we're going to get rid of group chats, I guess, for whatever reason. But it's a good spot to be if you like that. Good for the community. I prefer to Reddit. I'm just going to be totally honest with you. But yeah, it's a good spot to be. I will be in there here and there. There's a lot of different channels and stuff to navigate, check out, different news, all that stuff. Very creative space. Be there. They are hosting a giveaway too right now as well. I'm not sure what the giveaway reward will be just yet. I'm not sure if it's finalized. But if you guys want to hop in there, they have hit their goal of the members that they're trying to get. So I believe that's going to be going on sometime soon here, if not already starting. Anyways, also in the description, check out the newsroom. Me and Courier host that as well. We just share our own links that you can help support either my channel or his. And those are also trusted stores we both use as well. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get into the more bite-sized video content here so you guys don't have to spend 30 minutes listening to me talk. Now, we're going to start with the Vegitos. I do have a Vegito and I do need to review it, but I genuinely just was not a fan of it. You know, I really had hope for it before they released the full thing, and it just did not hit when it got in my hand, and I just didn't want to touch it. And that's not to say like they make bad figures. I respect the fact that Kong Studios likes to do their own thing. I really do. And I think they should keep doing that because it makes them unique and diverse. I think there is a very clear spot to notice where they put more effort into figures. Very clearly, you can see a comparable difference in quality from the Vegitos, the Brolys, and what will soon go over here in the couple of tabs, the Gokus. And we'll get back to these Gokus here in a second. But you can tell significantly where the quality really got hit. And these Brolys just came out, in my opinion, amazing. I think a lot of people loved them. The Vegitos could have been better. I don't really care so much that the scale is off because Kong Studios has never been consistent with scale. If you've been following them before even I started following them, you probably are aware of that. They just never have really cared about that thing. Quality wise, it's about the same. It's definitely gotten better from what it used to be in terms of joint structure and just durability. It's definitely gotten better. There are times when pegs do break on the wrist. That's just, it happens. Sometimes it's user error. Sometimes it's just quality. If we're keeping it real, we're keeping it real. But at the end of the day, I just didn't like how these ones came out. And I do plan on keeping it because, you know, it's GT Vegito, but I if it was the other ones, I probably would have already sold it by now, just being honest. But yeah, the Brolys also came out. Very, very good response and feedback from what I hear on that one. Just very freaking big figures. Like, where do you even put that thing? That thing is literally probably making a dent in your like display right now on the board. It has to, unless you have metal or wooden boards that are really tough. Because these things at least probably weigh like, what, 5-10 pounds, bro? That hair is going crazy. But anyways, lastly, just 3 weeks ago, there was another teaser for the Omega Shenron, or, well, I think it's Omega Shenron and supposed to be Nova and Ice Shenron as well that is being done. I'm pretty sure probably something in Kong's Realm network of one of the groups doing it. They all operate under these different names, so I'm not really sure if it's just like a branch off or if it's in totality Kong or whatever, but I'm pretty sure it's like the same network. That's something to look forward to because the last one we got, I mean, it's the only one we got that is, it was out before the Dragon Stars at least, and it definitely was not the best, but I mean, it worked, right? And we do have the Dragon Stars one now. That does pretty much satisfy for most people until we get an SHF or if this turns out well. I imagine that this thing will be a pretty big freaking figure though. So we'll see. I don't really expect this update to happen for this figure anytime soon. I'll probably be expecting something like Q4, winter, maybe December of this year. We'll see. Now, getting into Mythos Anime Gold Set Monkey King Set. Wukong, Son Goku. I had high hopes for these. I really did. And I do still have high hopes for them. I don't think that they're terrible, but I do think there's some areas where they could have done better for sure. As you can tell, they've got 4 different variants, each with its own set of accessories and different styles and whatnot. We did get promotional, not really promotional. These are just in-hand pictures, and I'm not sure if this is from the studio who released these pictures or just somebody who was holding on to them from the factory or what, because it was said that they didn't want any photos to come out until the week of release, which I'm pretty sure they wanted more finalized promo shots for them, because these are not it. And in that case, you know, it's unfortunate if that's what they were waiting for, but at the same time, they're not commonly used, like they don't usually do that. And I think that's really strange. I trust Kong Studios to release their products, so I don't really have a problem pre-ordering things, and I'm not really a stickler on their head sculpts and faces. I've just never pre-ordered their stuff purely for that, because 99% of the time it doesn't hit what I want it to be, and I end up just putting another head on it anyways. Usually they're good for the bodies. That's my saying. I've always like come to that when it comes to their stuff. But usually they have some kind of product shot on the factory or, you know, in development, assembly, like showcased before, like months before the thing comes out, even if it's just a month before. So I find it a little strange they waited till it sounds like it's a week out of release for China. Don't know how I feel about that, because again, for other people who are new to it, they're gonna think, well, they're hiding clearly that it's a bad figure or something, and I don't think that's the case. If they really thought it was a bad figure, they flat out probably wouldn't release it. They just cancel and move to the next thing, right? But I don't know. It's a weird situation. At the end of the day, I'm gonna get mine. I will see what it's like in hand. But let's go through these photos. First off, just the body alone, the upper body at least, it's okay. It's decent. It's not the best. Arms are a little elongated, but we'll have to see what it looks like in person compared to some other, you know, types of figures. SH Figuarts, Demoniacal Fit, like what that looks like, because I truly don't know what the scale of this figure is. There was one picture showcasing like a prototype. I don't know how long ago that picture was though. But it was a prototype of this Goku next to their Vegito, and it was a little smaller. But again, Kong Studios typically does not care about scale unless it's like within their own figures, right? Like Vegeta, Goku, like that type of thing. They got it on pretty consistently for themselves. Here we go. So the head sculpts for UI and UI Sign do look relatively good. The faceplates so far don't look bad or anything. And I'm not really expecting them to be like top of the line, but they do look okay. And again, arms do look a little elongated in the forearms. And I see why they could do it and why they probably did it. But I don't really feel like they needed to start adapting what Tamashii was doing with the overlay of the pants on the thighs. I think they could have just stuck with doing the superhero Gohan, Super Saiyan 4 Goku type of legs that they were doing originally on their older or their first type of 3.0 type of figures. I think they could have continued on that way. They were doing really well there. And this is not a step back. It is a good time for them to experiment and see if people like it, see if it's worthwhile. But I feel like maybe if they do another figure that's like in this type of attire, it's fine to go back to the classic. I think a lot of people would prefer that and probably wouldn't cry about it as much if we're just being honest. The gi and the torn gi and all that stuff, like it could look a little bit better, but my main thing that I really care about out of it is how flexible is it. At the end of the day, while Air and anybody else who did something similar to this ribbed gi, those ones restrict movement. Now, Kong Studios has done soft plastic gis before to a degree. If you recall the Goku Blacks, Sobek, I think that's what they named it. Those ones had soft plastic. The only caveat is didn't survive. The durability just was not there long term if you were going to be heavily posing that thing, because it did start to tear. If they've solved that problem a little bit better, this is going to be good, and I can get over it maybe not looking the best, but at least it's going to pose better for me. Next, still UI. The head sculpts for the other ones, yeah, they're not it. I just say that off right off the bat. They're not it. But again, that's not really a concern for me. I never was going to buy it for that anyway. I think I don't know if I have the picture in here. There is another picture showcasing that these wrist wraps can come off. So they're not stuck on there like the SH Figuarts or anyone else that's really done them. They are removable. So you can kind of customize the body however you want to at the end of the day. And I think that's a really key thing to highlight when it comes to these figures. If anything, you'll get a lot of customizability, and I probably said that shit wrong, out of these figures, because the body is, again, it's not forced into the sash, forced into the gi, so you can customize it. You can take the wrist wraps off, don't have to use that head, and the only one I think that will have like some scarring, like permanent scarring on there, is the Ultra or the Moro Saga one, and I don't think I have a picture of that physically here to show you, but I do have kind of the design of what it would look like. At the end of the day, I'm not really over the moon about them, but I am happy to see that they're finally coming out after the random delay for whatever reason. They could have been better. That's for sure. This is old renderings from a while ago. So, and just to say, what they look like now is not necessarily a surprise. If you've been following them since they initially put this teaser out, like, you should not be like taken aback by how they look right now. They are not perfect, but they are in line with my expectations for Kong Studios when they initially made the announcement for them. The head sculpts, again, I just never had that expectation they were going to be like spectacular. They're just a track worker. They're not they're not perfect. It's just the facts, But yeah, that's really it when it comes down to it. Now, I haven't really seen the Super Saiyan Blue ones yet. I haven't seen these ones here yet. I don't think I've seen the base ones yet either. I've seen some pictures, of the undershirt, but I'm going to wait to share those because I don't really feel like those were recent photos. And I want to see if they're actually, what they look like today. Because again, they're not really as popping with the updates as they used to. They used to have the Baidu page. They used to post there. There used to be the Weeaboo. There's not really places to go get news from them unless they decide to push it out to either A, 5K Toys, B, on QQ if you're in any other groups that they do have, or C, they just, decide to post it and maybe creators over in China can get it and share it via their videos, whatever. I just don't really see the news popping as much as they used to. They're a little bit more low key, which is fine considering they do have the track record. That's why DF and Kong can kind of get around that. They've been around in the game for a while. But anyways, at the end of the day, if you don't want them, don't buy them. If you already put your pre-orders in and you're mad about losing that deposit out, at the end of the day, that's a good question. How much was that deposit? Because that is a good factor for whether or not if it's really worth to pay for them. At the end of the day, though, I do think if you get them, you could probably sell them off and still get back what you paid for it. The bodies are good enough to still do custom work on. And I'm sure there's some people out there that would want to get them purely for that reason. So anyways, that's kind of my thoughts when it comes to the Kong Studios, Mythos Anime, Beast Deities, whatever you'd like to call them in this day and age. That's kind of my thoughts so far on them. Again, they do come out soon. I don't know if I'm going to grab an early copy because I still have all my pre-orders at 5K Toys. 5K Toys probably is going to be like a month or two delayed. I'm guessing it could be a little earlier, but I believe Chinese New Year is also coming up. So anything that's supposed to release over in China, there might be a delay for it releasing over here just because, shipping arrangements and all that stuff. But with that being said, I'd really love to hear what your guys' thoughts are below because there's been some opinions on it for sure. I just feel at the end of the day, like I said, it's not something to get too fret over. Again, they're good enough for some people. They're not good enough for others. That's the name of the game in the third party, man. Not everything's going to live up to the expectations of everybody else. But anyways, I will catch you guys in the next video, hopefully the fourth video. And I don't know what that will be yet, but there's definitely been some other stuff to talk about. So I will catch you in the next one. Peace.